Hello, and welcome to this webinar, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andy. I'm the technical consultant of the Manage Engines, the AD Solutions team. On behalf of Manage Engine and the AD Solutions, I welcome you all for this webinar. So, ladies and gentlemen, the screen is now shared, and I hope that everyone can see my screen. So, we got two things here in the Zoom. You have a chat window. So you can use the chat window just in case if you are not able to view the screen, or if there is any problem with the audio, feel free to update your comments in the chat. Also, you have a Q&A section in the same Zoom's panel. Please make use of it in case you have any questions about the product. I have a team sitting besides me, and they are going to actively answer all the questions that you're going to post in the Q&A section. So that's the difference here. The chat is to convey any information about this ongoing webinar. Like if you're not able to hear me, if my screen is not visible to you, use the chat window. If not, for any questions about the product, you can use the Q&A panel. Once again, I welcome you all for this today's webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, the topic for today's webinar is SIEM. So what is an SIEM? So SIEM stands for Security Information and Event Management. So traditionally, SIEM is a technology that is used to identify if there is any attack happen in your organization. But the modern term of SIEM is to mitigate the attack and prevent anything before even it happens in your organization. So you need to have artificial intelligence. You need to have proper mechanisms that should ensure you receive an email alert and action needs to be performed before even it gets bigger and bigger into your organization. So that is the kind of a SIM that you need to hold at this point of time. The reason why you need to have the SIM solution is listed right here. The popular attacks in 2021. So right from the small brute force attack till AI powered attacks. So what does it mean? What are these attacks is going to do to your organization? I don't have to give any definition about what these attacks would do, but just for a few who are new about the SIEM concept, I'm going to tell you a few attacks right here. The first thing is the ransomware. The ransomware is an attack that the cyber thieves are going to use to produce a script, and that script would those scripts would rename the files into a different extension, and eventually it will be encrypted. So the encryption key will be held by the attacker. So eventually the victim, what they have to do is the victim is forced to delete all the necessary information from their system if they fail to pay a ransom within the timeline given by the cyber criminals. So, um, it is just not only the major type of cyber attacks. It impacts the healthcare and the defense sector, along with the other sectors of any company. Okay, even I myself is once a victim of the ransomware attack. So my personal computer got hacked by a person way back in 2018, and I had to delete all the information, all the necessary information from my computer. So even though if you're prepared to pay the ransom, there isn't any guarantee as to whether paying the ransom would secure the documents. So if it is attacked, it is attacked. You have no other go. So what you have to think about right now is how are you going to prevent such attacks? Second one is the brute force, a very commonly used technique to hack any computer. So it is a method of randomly trying out different passwords for unlocking the victim system. And in fact, it is one of the main type of cyber attacks that is conducted by lots of people every day. So the brute force attack, how they are going to do is they're going to use an AI technology to randomly guess the password, and once the combination of special certain characters and the numbers identifies the password, then that can be used to hack your system. So how are you going to prevent that? The very simple technique is use a very common password. But how much common, how much complex password? I'm sorry, I would have said that use a very complex password. And how much complicated the password could be has to be decided by the administrator who set the password policy in an organization. Okay, so the next one is the malware attack. So the malware attack is a very common thing. You know, the attackers create a code called malware to hack the digital devices, which includes the electronic devices, including laptops, computers, and mobiles, to gain an unauthorized access. So it is a kind of a code or a script that will be sent to your mobile phone through a, from an unauthorized sender, like a WhatsApp forward or an email. So when you're going to click on that particular link, it goes intrudes into your system and it does everything that it is supposed to do. So that's a kind of a malware attack. The next one is DOS and DDoS, denial of service and distributed denial of service. A DOS attack is common it is one of the common type of cyber attack that aims at overwhelming a system in such a way that if it fails to respond to its customers, which means huge number of requests will be sent to the system, and that system will eventually fail to offer the customer, fails to provide the service to the customer. Eventually, it will end up in losing your business. So that is denial of service. And the distributed denial of service is even more critical and crucial because that is going to attack from different positions, right? So that is the denial of attack. Among all of these attacks that are listed right here, the insider threat is the most critical, and that's the most vulnerable attack in any organization. So what is an insider attack in the first place? So the cyber attack that takes place every day, the most shocking fact is that most of the time there is an insider involved in the process to help the cyber criminals get the information about their organization. So insiders of target organization end up becoming the ones who make these type of cyber attacks happen frequently. So they help the external attackers by providing them with all the necessary information, which leads to further consequences. So typically, these type of hack or these type of attacks would takes place in a corporate environment, and it is also a very common attack in industries like banks and other financial institutions. So insider threat is one of the most highly critical attack because you know where it is originated from. So it just comes from an unloyal employee within your organization. Okay, so what is the consequence of an insider threat is the whole topic that we are going to discuss for today. And before getting into the insider threats, the next one is the AI powered attack. So it is nothing but a machine learning that focuses on teaching the computer to perform several tasks on its own instead of depending on human to conduct them manually. So at times it uses a digital system to get unauthorized information. It can also be used to steal confidential and financial data, which will harm the emotions of an individual. Okay, so instead of a person doing it repeatedly, you're going to write a code and give it to the system, and that system would do the human's activity, is what the AI powered attack. And what is next? So you could see the evolution of the attackers right from hacking the password till getting a script for intruding a system without even the manual intervention. So how much they have evolved is the best example of the list of attacks that you can see right here. Okay, so talking about the insider threat, so it is very essential to understand what will go wrong if at all there is an insider attack happen. Is doing something that is against your organization. So that leads to the privilege escalation. Now, what is a privilege escalation? You can see that there are two kinds of privilege escalation right here. One is the horizontal, other one is the vertical. So the horizontal privilege escalation applies to all the situations when an attacker acts as a specific user and gains access to resource belonging to another user with a similar level of access. For example, you can see the employees right here. One person is a sales representative, business analyst, marketing manager, and marketing director. Okay, so not all of these users will have the high privilege access. Okay, so let's take up an example. If an attacker impersonates a user and gains unauthorized access to his own account, you call this as an horizontal privilege escalation. Okay, which means like a user pretends to be a customer and he gets the details of the bank. So it's like you are spoofing a user, and that user is not even aware of what has happened to his bank account, right? So that is what you call it as a horizontal privilege escalation. The next one is a vertical privilege escalation. That is, you are a standard user, you go and intrude into a company, and you your privilege escalates from one state to the another state. That is, you are a normal user, you gain access to the system, then your privilege is now elevated to the help desk associate, and then it goes to the administrator level. And this is what you call it as a vertical escalation. Okay, so what are the outcome of these privilege escalation? So eventually, it is going to steal the data that you have in your organization. So one of the best example of the vertical escalation is that, gentlemen. I know, ITSM tool. So that ITSM tool, how it operates is it would create an Active Directory user without even the permission of an administrator. So all you have to do is during the configuration of that ITSM tool, you will have to give a certain permission to that tool, and that tool will automatically create an account in the Active Directory. Now, a person who knows in and out about that ITSM tool knows what kind of permission that particular account has on the Active Directory. So it is not your Active Directory, it is the knowledge about the ITSM tool that this person has concentrated for all these years. Knowing the level of access this account is having on your Active Directory, who knows what that account can do, based on which that account has created another user, and similar permission was given to that user, because obviously the ITSM tool has those permissions. So you can very well create another account with a similar permission, and you can go intrude into your organization. So you will have to think wisely, be it any application, right from ITSM tool or uh, a small tool that will help you to monitor the local users in your organization. When it comes to accessing certain resource in your organization, make sure you think wiser. So what went wrong in this company is the person who knows what are all the permissions that this account is going to have, and that made a difference. Okay, so this is how the attack is going to happen. So it's not going to happen in overnight. If at all, that's going to be an external threat. And if it is an internal threat, you know how crucial the situation is going to be. So the threat actors start privilege escalation. Uh, it acts by gaining a foothold within the environment. An attacker could gain this beachhead by leveraging missing security patches or social engineering or many other methods. So once the initial infiltration has been successful, threat actors will typically perform surveillance and wait for the right opportunity to continue their machine. So which means the person, once the initial level of intrusion has happened, they can wait and monitor what is going on within the organization. Okay, so at this point of time, once an initial infiltration has been identified by the right SIM solution, the breach can be stopped. So this is where the effective SIM comes into the picture. So it should not just detect what the problem is. It should not just detect where the intrusion has happened. It should also prevent from the further damage to happen. But you can see the image. So once the account has sufficient privilege, then it goes to the next level, the lateral movement, where it can gain access to all the required resources, and eventually a data breach is going to happen. So the second step in the cyber attack chain involves privilege escalation to accounts which with the administrator, root, or higher privilege rights than the account initially compromised. And of course, it's possible the initial compromise involved an administrative or a root account. In this case, a threat actor is further has a malicious plan, and and he's already into your environment, because the initial infiltration matters here, and if that is successful, all the other infiltration is going to be a cakewalk for any hacker. So this is how an attack is going to happen. So how are you going to detect those kind of intrusions? Is the job of a right SIM solution. Okay, so can the SIM solution alone would prevent these kind of things? No, SIM is just an security enhanced product that can tell you what has happened, and it can prevent that from happening. That's the definition of a modern SIM. However, you need to have certain tools in your environment in order to prevent such attacks to happen. For example, you need to have a good IAM lifecycle product. So when it comes to provisioning of a user, reprovisioning or deprovisioning, make sure you have good change process involved in it. So there should be a change control while giving an access to a user, or if you're creating a user with elevated privilege, make sure that goes through a change process. And you need to have a very effective password management solution. Be it a user or an administrator, make sure if a user is resetting your password, make sure that the password that the user is going to have is very complicated and not a commonly used password. Or if an administrator resets a user's password, make sure that administrator uses a very complex password. And this is the situation where not even the native Active Directory is going to help you, because the native Active Directory password policy uh, are not as good as the speed of the hackers' technologies to guess what the password is. So use a wiser tool when it comes to password management. Unnecessary privileges has to be revoked. If you have identified a user who is not supposed to be the member of an administrator group, make sure the permission is revoked on time. Or if at all a permission is going to be given to a user, if a user is going to be added to a particular group, make sure that user undergoes the change management process. So in either of the cases, least privilege is what going to make a difference here. The next important thing is periodically you will have to manage the user's permission and privileges. Let's say a user is having an access to a particular files and folders, read or write permission. Make sure you evaluate the permissions that the user is having on a particular share. And if at all you have a share that is not being accessed by anyone, make sure to isolate such shares in the native environment. So you will have to work on both the ways. You have to keep running the reports, get the reports of all the users who has permission on a particular share, or all the users who are a member of an administrative group, and evaluate yourself whether the user needs to have these permissions on a particular share, or whether the user needs to be the member of that particular group. This is an pandemic situation. I'm glad that it's getting over, but still it is not yet over. So people are accessing resources remotely. This is where you will have to be extra cautious that if anyone coming through the VPN, make sure you have multi-factor authentication enabled for that. Vulnerabilities. Are you really checking your computers? Are they really updated? If not, run the vulnerability report. Make sure all the computers are updated with the security patches. And if any application that is running without any security update, make sure to update it periodically, just to make sure everything is up to date when it comes to the security aspects. Harden the security and monitor. I don't have to say what that is. Make sure that you are always on the safer side, just to ensure that no attacker could come into your organization. So on top of it, on top of all the measures which I have just told you, what is the factor that is going to control these kind of intruders, or what is the factor that's going to control these kind of attacks getting inside the organization? Is the security. And this is where the SIEM comes into the picture. So these are all the characteristics of a SIEM solution. The first thing is real-time notification. If, like I said, in the previous slide, the intruder infiltrates the first level security, and he is comfortably sitting inside your organization and monitoring what is going on. If only the SIEM solution has identified the infiltration in the first place, he cannot sit comfortably in your organization. So you need to have a proper monitoring software that is going to tell you that, hey, something has gone wrong. Make sure to do the necessary action. And the SIEM solution should do the necessary action. Either you can have a workflow where a ticket could be raised in your respective ITSM tool, or you can configure a workflow in such a way that the users are disabled, or you take the computer out of the network, or do something that will stop this person to getting inside further. So real-time notification and alerting. Correlation. The correlation is one of the key functionality of any SIM solution because it doesn't start with a computer, it starts with the firewall, what you have uh, implemented in the network security. So the intruder first compromise the firewall, gets into the system, compromise the computer, gets privilege, go access the data, and it steals the sensitive information what you have in that computer. So it is not just one computer. It starts from the network security, then it comes to the computer, then it comes to the applications, then it comes to the data, then it comes to the film, and it goes in that way. So the information collected from your server is not sufficient. The information collected from your networking device alone is not going to get sufficient. So the information will have to be collected from all the sources that you have in the organization, and it has to be correlated correctly. You need to have right set of rules that ensures it gives the uh, exact thing, exact attack that has happened in your organization. So that is called as a perfect SIM solution. Okay. So the next one is for the governance and for the compliance section, make sure the SIM solution has enough predefined reports that falls in the compliances that belongs to your country. For example, if it is UK, you have a SIM solution that produces the GDPR compliance report, so as the other compliances. So you need to have some predefined reports that satisfies all the compliance sections that are available in your country. Okay, so we have seen so far collection of data, sending an instant alert, giving a pre-packaged report. And what's next? Uh, Storing the information within the database alone is not going to help because that product is just a log aggregation software and you cannot call it as a SIEM tool. So you just collect the data from different sources and store it in one location. And you will have years and years of garbage in the same location. So how are you going to manage that? So in my opinion, too much of information is nothing. Okay. So you have to have precise information to tell what exactly that you want that has happened and not everything. For that, you need to have parser. You need to have either you need to, a built-in parser that converts the information to more meaningful, or you need to provide an option to create your own parser based on the information that the tool is going to take, and it correlates with the information what you wanted to see in the product. So either a predefined parser or a custom parser is very much essential here. Most importantly, the data collected from different resources needs to be stored in one location, and it should not have any impact on that computer where the product is running. So you need to archive the information. So once the information is archived, you can use those archived information for the forensic analysis. So garbage in, garbage out. So that is one of the most significant characteristic of a SIM solution, because most of the tools that is available in the market claims to be a SIM solution are just a log aggregation tool and not a proper SIM solution. Okay, so far we have seen the characteristics of the SIM solution and how effectively the SIM solution can perform, can help the other systems in your organization, makes lot more meaningfulness, which means once a threat is detected, make sure the SIM solution creates a ticket in the ticketing tool, or you need to have a special system within your SIM solution that will raise an alarm to the respective administrator by creating a ticket by itself. And you need to have a proper workflow mechanism to manage those tickets, right? So now it is a question that I'm going to put forward to everyone. Is your SIM solution having all of these features? Now, coming to the Manage Engine product, coming to the Manage Engine's Log 360, which is in fact a perfect SIM solution, has all of these functionalities. The first thing is that this tool can collect the data from all the sources that you have, be it a networking device, be it a workstation, Linux device, applications, vulnerability scanners, antivirus, any log source that is capable of sending logs in a human readable format. This tool can get the logs from these sources and it can be shown as a report in the respective report section. The very interesting functionality of the Log 360 is that, ladies and gentlemen, this tool has predefined compliance report. And not just a predefined compliance report, this tool will also offer you to create custom compliance report. So based on the compliance category, you just need to drag and drop the reports, put it in one section, and you can create your own compliance report as per the requirement. The Log 360 can very well be integrated with the top ITSM tool that is available in the market, including the Manage Engine's own product. On top of it, the tool will also help you to create your own workflow within the tool where the tickets can be handled as per the requirement. For example, if any ticket got raised based on intrusion happened in the networking device, it goes to the networking department. If any ticket got raised based on the server, it goes to the server department. Okay, so we have those comprehensiveness within the Log 360 where you can handle the tickets. The data security. So it uses an elastic search. So once the information was captured by the Log 360, that information will be stored in the database and you can archive that information so that it will get stored into a different location. So if and when required, you can go get the information directly from the archived data and the tool would show all the respective information. The future of the SIM is the UEBA. Remember what I said about the privilege user management. Okay, so periodically you will have to monitor the user's behavior. If they are doing something unusual, let's say a user is logging on to non-business hours, or if a user is downloading plenty of information on the local computers, or if a massive password reset is happening in the organization, either in the business hours or non-business hours, or a regular user is added to a security group or removed from a security group, make sure to monitor the user's behavior. So you have an inbuilt feature within the product that gives you the complete details about any suspicious or unusual activity made by the users within your organization. So that's a part of the SIEM solution, which we have in the Manage Engine. The another interesting fact about the Log 360 is the threat intelligence. We got two different threat intelligence available in the tool. One, it gets the data from the vendor sticks and tags, and it tells you if any request that got sent to your organization from any blocklisted IP address or any blocklisted websites, that will be monitored and will show as a report. And we have advanced threat analytics, and that's going to work in two ways. If any request goes to that particular blocklisted IP address or a third-party blocklisted websites or any request coming into your organization, both can be tracked. So that's the threat intelligence, what we have within the Log 360. So These are all the sample reports that you can see right here in the account management section of the Log 360, which is, you call this product as the AD Audit Plus, a product that will monitor all the changes that happens in the Active Directory users and computers. We have this one that says the administrative user action, where you can track all the changes that happens in your organization made by the specific user in the Active Directory. So let's say I have a user called user A, all the changes made by that particular account on the Active Directory. So he might have created a few users, deleted a few accounts, reset password, unlocked account. So the complete history of the changes made by that particular account, you can get it right here. In that way, you can monitor the user's activity within this tool. And for the fact that this tool is going to work on the real time predominantly, it is going to send you a real-time alert as well if anything goes wrong. And you have some predefined reports within the analytics section where privilege escalation if a user is added to a security group or a security group itself is created and then a group got deleted. You can see plenty of things that can be generated as a report here within the AD Audit Plus. And don't forget, AD Audit Plus is a part of the Log 360. So AD Audit Plus, it is going to get the data from your domain controllers, and it is going to monitor the changes happen on Active Directory users and computers from the file servers that you have, GPOs, DNS changes, or any change happen within a member server or on the workstation. Let's say a user has downloaded something on his local computer from external device, everything will be monitored within the AD Audit Plus. And for the fact that the tool can collect the data on the real time, you can receive an real-time alerts, and the reports are pretty much once again of the real time. Very importantly, the reports can be scheduled. So for the auditors, don't worry, the reports will be automatically sent as an email. So you have one interesting report within the AD Audit Plus when it comes to the GPO management. This is an advanced GPO management report where, you have two different GPO reports. One is the basic one. And in the basic report, what you're looking at right now is going to tell you about the specific change that has happened in the GPO, like what specific attribute got modified. And then you have an advanced GPO report where the tool will tell you about all the changes happen in the GPO and the old value and the new value. With that, you can easily identify what specific change is made in that GPO that went wrong. So you can take up a decision based on the information that is produced by the AD Audit Plus. So this is what we have within the AD Audit Plus, ladies and gentlemen. And before I go ahead with the next section of this presentation, I just would like to inform you that we are running a year-end offer, and this offer is exclusively for the customers in UK and the US region. So we are going to send you a link in the chat, and that link will have a form. So if you're going to click that, it takes you to a form. If you are interested, you can just fill the form and send it to us so that you will be entitled to receive that discount. It's going to be the year-end discount. So that link will be posted in the chat session in a few seconds. Just give me a quick moment here. We're just working on that. Okay, I think you already have that link sent sent in the chat window. So please click that link and register yourself if you're interested. So you will be entitled for the discount, that is the year-end discount. All right, so the next topic that we're going to discuss about right now is the event log analyzer. So far, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we have seen a product that collects the data from the domain controller, which is, I would say, predominantly that tool is for um, tracking the changes that happens on your Active Directory file servers, member servers, and even Azure AD can be monitored with the help of AD Audit Plus. So it is not just for the on-prem Active Directory. If you have a cloud AD Audit Plus can show the report taken from the cloud Active Directory. So this one, the event log analyzer that you're looking at right now, is a tool that will get the data from all the sources that are capable of generating logs in a human readable format, and it is going to show the information right to you. So, like I said, this matches or this satisfies all the characteristics of the SIEM. The first thing is collection of the data. So if I go to the settings section right here, you will have an option for configuring the devices. So you can see that the manage devices is right here. If it is a Windows device, the tool will automatically collect the data. I mean, the Windows devices will be discovered by the tool. And once the information that you see right here, once the devices were discovered, you see the IP address or the host name of the device, the reports will be available in the respective section. Okay, so you see this Windows, right? And all the events, you see the reports will be available in the respective category. Would get all the information right here. So the top sources, the top devices, plenty of things that you can see right here. Now, if it is a networking device, make sure your device is capable of forwarding the logs through the syslog. So the tool will fetch the details from the syslog server, and once the tool has identified the device manufacturer and the device type, automatically you would get the reports in the respective report section. So if it is a Unix device, you would see the report right here. If it is an AS400 or a Cisco firewall or a Sony Port, Fortinet, Juniper, so these are all the predefined devices that are supported within the event log analyzer. And don't worry, even if the predefined report, I mean the predefined devices that are is missing the manufacturer that you have, still you would be able to see the reports in the right section. All you have to do is you will have to create a custom report based on the information taken by the event log analyzer, and you can create a custom report just to make sure that your device is populating the information here in the section. So the option is pretty much available. So that's what you have in the report section. And you have an option for scheduling the report. So the tool will email the information to you. You don't necessarily have to log in and run the reports each and every time. The next one is the compliance. Like I said before, the tool has a predefined compliance report. You can see that almost all the compliances that are needed of an hour are pretty much available, including the GDPR, ISO, CCPA, plenty of things that you can see right here, including HIPAA, GLBA, or SOX, PCI DSS. Now, you have an option for creating your own compliance report. All you have to do is select the right report, have the name, and hit the save button. That's it. Your compliance report is now created. You just need to schedule it so the tool will email information to you. That's what you have in the compliance section. So once the tool has detected the information, detected a server, you have the search, and the search is as effective as any, I mean, it's more effective than any other product that is available in the today's market. because it is going to fetch the data and instantaneously you would get all the information. So all you have to do is just search for the tagline, whether it is an error or information. So based on which you would see the search. So you can search based on the device ID, device name, username. You have comprehensiveness in doing the search. You can even write your own regex format right here. So accordingly, the tool will display the information. So this is what you have in the search section. Coming to the correlation is one of the most interesting part of the Log 360. So in the correlation, you have predefined reports. So predefined correlation rules that gives all the information. So these are all the latest attacks. If it is a ransomware or a database threat, you can see plenty of things are available. And you have an option for creating your own correlation rule. So all you have to do is select the right report and you can create your own correlation rule. So accordingly, if any sequence of action that follows this kind of pattern, you would be getting that in the report section. So the one other thing what we have in the correlation section is you have the option for running a report to see the history. So right from the time a user has logged onto the computer till he logged off from that machine, what are all the changes made by that person? You see it right here. So that's again available in the correlation. So you will get a complete history of all the changes made by that particular person. And you can see that it's neatly given as a report in the correlation section. So the next one is the alert. So this tool is capable of sending alerts, and not just the alert. So we have this option for creating an alert profile. So you can define what information that needs to be sent as an email alert. And you have this workflow, and this workflow, you can see that, let's say if there is a brute force attack, if a user's login attempt got failed for more than 3 times, before even it reaches the 4th time, you want to take some action. Let's say you want to kill the process, or you want to stop the service or disable the computer. You just need to enable this and create an alert profile in this way. So the tool will automatically send you an email alert, and then the computer will be disabled automatically so that it cannot go to the next level. So that is the workflow, what we have in the alert section. On top of it, the event log analyzer has an option for integrating the product with the top ITSM tools, including ServiceNow, Zendesk, and plenty of other tools, including the Manage Engine Service Desk Plus or a Jira or a BMC Remedy. So these are all the ticketing tools where the event log analyzer can be integrated. So if any ticket or any alert that got triggered from the event log analyzer, that will be converted as a ticket in the respective tool. So it's going to be an automated way. On top of it, we have this option where you can create a workflow. So you just need to drag and drop the action, what you want the tool to take, and the tool will perform those actions automatically. So that's the another workflow that we have. And the tool itself has a predefined ticketing tool. I mean, a small ITSM tool where the tool can handle the tickets by itself. So if any ticket that got raised from a networking device, how you want that to be handled, you can do it right here. You can define what way you want to handle the tickets here in this section of the tool. So that's these are all the functionalities that you see here in the alert section. So, ladies and gentlemen, so thank you so much for all of your time. I think we have come towards the end of the session.